obviously, Kathleen Kennedy is, of course, on her way out the door. I'm sure you know about that already. I mean, it's not like we couldn't have seen this a mile away with, Solo, and Episode 8, and all that good stuff. But anyway, now they're finally talking about it in all the little journalist circles. Is she going out the door? Is she stepping down? And they'll come up with a reason for it, I'm sure. Because obviously the rest of us know she's probably getting fired. I mean, come on. You've seen them, and you're a huge Star Wars fan, you know why. But, they'll probably come up with something saying she's taking emergency leave because somebody is ill or something like that, or she feels her job is done. She's done an amazing job, and she wants to pass it on to somebody else while she moves on to bigger and better things. But other than that, she's going to be gone. The only problem is, of course, now they can't find anyone to take over the dumpster fire that is known as Star Wars at this particular moment. Solo bombed. I mean, you've got a movie about Han Solo, and the movie was about everything but Han Solo, considering everybody is going to one-up him through the entire movie. Spoilers, by the way, for this entire thing when I'm talking about stuff, because this is kind of a rant, and somewhat of a maybe things we could have done, things I would have rather have seen happen to, actually make the movies better than what they did. But, and then, at the end, he finally pulls through and does something. And then the arc they put him through is the same arc that he went through in the original trilogy, which kind of then throws this thing like, then what the heck happened between the Solo movie and the original trilogy to make him go back to being a scoundrel the way he was, instead of, becoming the man he does near the end of the trilogy? But hey, what do I know? But, anyway, that stuff went down the drain. 8, of course, did well in its first weekend, dropped off sharply afterwards. 7, we were all excited for, finding out that it was happening. Super excited that Disney bought Star Wars and they were going to do something with it. I love Star Wars, so naturally, I was excited about it. I got a load that went by my town just so Koniko can pick me up and take us to see Star Wars that night when it opened. So, but then 8 came out. Didn't actually want to go see that one in theaters. Finally rented it from the, Redbox. And was kind of glad I didn't waste the money to go see it in theaters. Of course, I also rented Rogue One, and Rogue One was an okay story. It wasn't something I was looking for, but it was not. It wasn't bad. I mean, kind of already knew how it was going to end. But, other than that, it was okay. Meanwhile, Solo, complete dumpster fire. I mean, come on, you got a movie about the man, and it was anything but, So, glad I didn't see that one in the theaters either. But, yeah, there's that. And of course, you got the whole Rian Johnson thing going on about stuff, and, responding to some tweets. He needs to seriously just go away, because this idea of actors and actresses and other things, directors and such, attacking the fan base, that is the thing you don't do. It's almost as if these people never saw what happened to Ghostbusters 2016. Something you don't do is go full Ghostbusters 2016, which they are straight up going. And, it's just like, why? Why would you do that? The fan base is what makes and breaks you. It doesn't matter that your fan base has grown up. They're still what makes and breaks you. They will come back and they will see it if it's good. And word of mouth will get around after that first weekend, and then people won't come and see it. And if you're going around attacking the fans, it's also not going to want them to go out and see it in the first place. They're going to wait, and they're going to, stream it or something illegally, the whole pirating thing. They're not going to waste the time giving you money, especially after you call them man-children and all this other stuff, because they don't like the direction you have taken it, and they've leveled legitimate criticism about why. And that's the next part that we're going to get into it. 8, come on. I can get over the fact that Rey is a Mary Sue. She's good at freaking everything. She can fly a ship. If that was the case, she probably would have stole and gotten off that rock years ago, but no, she didn't until we had the Millennium Falcon in play. Then suddenly she's like, yeah, it's time to go. And then she can handle everything and all this other stuff, and she's great, and, I hate that. Really do, but I can get over that. Seriously, 7 was alright. I don't mind. I kind of liked 7. Finn took me a minute to get into, and, Finn's alright. What they did with 8, just complete dumpster of an everything. With 7, they brought up Luke as a legend. And that's what I wanted. Me and I'm sure several others wanted. Luke Skywalker, the legend, the myth. The guy who will bring back the whole Jedi thing and, the light side of the Force versus the Sith and, all that good stuff. And after the fall of Vader and everything, it would be good to bring in. And, what they did with Luke in 8, why? That did not seem like Luke at all. He's a bitter old man on a freaking island with whatevers floating about, repairing things when you damage it. And he's just like, get off my island. I mean, I understand that with these past 2 movies, they've been going with this whole parallel thing with the original trilogy. I mean, heck, we've got ourselves a Death Star with a singular weakness that we get in and blow up and blow the whole thing up. The difference? This Death Star is planet-sized and it blows up multiple planets at once now. Because reasons. And then, they were trying to do the whole Yoda thing with Luke. Yoda was in hiding. Because, the whole fact that, I don't know, a particular order was given, all the Jedis and everything were attacked by their own people as a result, and he left and went into hiding. And then, of course, the Force guided Luke, whatnot. He happens to land in his swamp and all that good stuff. And then we go through this whole character development with Luke, where he learns how to control the Force better and gets stronger and all this other things, confronts his demons, and, eventually leaves and goes and rejoins the fight and helps out. And that was nice. And yes, Yoda dies. He feels at that point, you'd think he feels, he's old. He's super old, considering he was already old when Anakin was a freaking boy. And then he became Vader, and he saw that whole thing, and then, he trains Luke up, and he's done his thing, and he passes on, his knowledge, and it's time to go. He wouldn't be what I would call a main character of the story, which, of course, goes back to the whole Rian Johnson and the tweets and everything, because somebody was sharing a thing with George Lucas, and saying, you don't kill off Luke, you don't kill the main characters. And then his response is to apparently, tweet back his uncle and aunt who died, and then Yoda passing away, and then Luke getting his hand chopped off, and it's like, you do realize that none of those were main characters, right? Seriously, is that your argument to, you don't kill off main characters, so let's show a showcase of non-main characters that got killed off, and then the main character getting his hand cut off when he found out that Vader was his father, and the surprise and all that stuff, and almost dying but doesn't actually die. Because that is totally relevant to anything that was just said. But anyway. So you got Luke, grumpy old man, because why? He failed at training Kylo? Mr. Kylo, who should have been like the badass Vader type of these three films, and I can't help but think, he's nothing but an emo teenager who has the mind of a 12-year-old? I mean, seriously? That's your badass of the movies? The badass evil? And you're gonna sit there and tell me that Snoke was so full of himself that he didn't realize that Kylo was gonna run him through the way he did? I mean, seriously, he's like freaking twitching his finger. He's doing something, and he doesn't take a moment to grab said lightsaber and say, yeah, I know what you think you're going to do, but that's not gonna work on me, bitch. I mean, come on. That was mind-blowing. I don't know. That just rubs me the wrong way altogether. But, and then we finally get Luke in action near the end of the movie, right? And I'm sitting here going, oh yes, this right here is going to make it worth sitting through this entire dumpster fire. Luke is going to just destroy them. He's going to come out, then he's probably going to sit there and say fire on him, and they're going to shoot, and he's not going to be affected. Because it's Luke motherfucking Skywalker, He's going to sit there and, deflect all the bolts or whatever, and he's just going to decimate them. He's going to, flick his wrist, and they're going to crush into each other or something and all fall over, and Kylo's going to have to get out, and they're going to have, this epic lightsaber fight, right? While he gives them, the rest of them, time to escape. And then in the end, maybe, Luke will lose the fight, harkening back to the whole, when Vader and Obi-Wan fought, and I so got that mixed up. Wow. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. Apparently it is way too hot and I can't think and get my character straight suddenly. But anyway, when he straight up dies and everything right there, and Luke sees it and screams, and they pull him back on and take off. But anyway, it was going to be something similar to that, except for we're going to get an epic sword fight this time because, technology's gotten better and everything. And instead, it starts off decent. They don't damage him. It's like he didn't move at all. And you're just like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And then Kylo goes out, and they start to trade blows. And then you find out Luke's not really there. Luke's a hologram. You've got to be freaking kidding me. He's a fucking hologram? Come on. Seriously? We could have had so much potential right there. Things that we are currently missing. More lightsaber fights. And you could have given us an epic lightsaber fight. And you chose not to. Instead, he just disappears. And then disappears. For real. Instead of, just straight up dying or whatever, he just disappears. So Luke could be dead. Maybe Luke isn't. I hope to whatever that Luke isn't actually dead. I mean, for all we know, maybe because he turned off the Force for so long and then he went back and everything, the Force got mad. And here's something they could do. I don't know how well this would work, but the Force gets mad, right? And the Force snatches Luke after his little hologram projection, astral projection Force thingy, and rips him up and goes, look, we're going to slap you around a bit because you've done screwed up. You became this bitter old man for some reason because, whatever. We're going to slap you around and then send you back. You're going to train Ray, do it right, and then you're welcome to die at that point. But we're not going to let you die just yet. But yeah, that just really set me over the edge at that point. I was like, come on, really? And of course, Ray hasn't really had any training. She's trained on this island by herself while Luke's just sort of watching her this whole time, and now she's moving rocks with the Force. Come on. She needs some formal training. Luke needs to put her through her paces. You got to bring Luke back somehow and put her through her paces. Of course, what I would love to do is for Luke to wake up from like some kind of Force premonition dream, right? And he's still training his Padawans and everything with, Kylo there and all that good junk. Wakes up and the last 2 episodes were nothing but a dream. And then we start going from there or something. And because he had it, he winds up changing said, premonition, whatever. He winds up changing it, right? So what comes to pass doesn't come to pass. And maybe Kylo still goes evil for whatever reason, but instead he goes evil. So we get our Vader type going. So, they sit there and he gets mad at whoever for a bad report or whatnot. Force chokes him. I don't know. But, maybe he still goes evil. But then Luke tracks down Rey and starts training her and brings her in. And then we actually get something decent out of it. And of course, unfortunately, Carrie Fisher passed away. So we're going to have to rewrite something to where she dies during all this. Off camera, I guess. So we actually don't wind up with Leia. And because, maybe, it becomes a thing where Luke knows what's about to happen. And maybe at the time, he stopped it somehow beforehand, right? And we just never saw it. And in order to change that, he has to, unfortunately, let her get killed or something. And it just torments him. And we can see this whole thing of back and forth. I got to stop, but if I don't, or if I do, all these other bad things are going to come to pass as a result, but I could prevent that by letting her go now. but no, I've got to stop her. I've got to save her. And then have this whole character thing where he's going back and forth on what to do in order to try and, prevent our new Death Star from happening. Maybe, her passing prevents them from actually doing that or something. Or it slows it down or something. I don't know. But anyway, I think I've ranted about it long enough. What do you think? Do you think, Kathleen going away and maybe, they can kick Rian Johnson to the curb, bring in somebody like JJ? Do you think they could maybe put out the dumpster fire and revitalize the series? Because right now, it's spinning down the drain. Or, maybe you enjoy the new movies? Tell me what you like about them. I mean, honestly, I think they totally destroyed Finn and them in 8. They really screwed up that whole thing that was going pretty well in 7. But, and fuel. Seriously, when has fuel been a thing? And I'm going off into another tangent. What do you think about fuel? Fuel not being a thing, where Luke was able to go to like 3 different locations on whatever fuel capacity an X-Wing freaking has, right? And submerge it in a swamp and still be able to go somewhere. Yet now we've got a big cruiser thing that's like, we don't have enough fuel to jump. And we might be able to make one, but then we'll be dead in the water because they're going to know where we are. I mean, really? Fuel? Anyway, When did that happen? Did I miss it somewhere? Was there always fuel in the Star Wars universe and I just didn't know about it? Let me know down in the comments below. Till then, I'll talk to y'all later. See ya. Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment, smash that like button, and always subscribe for more. And of course, there are other videos floating around somewhere on the screen, so click one of those and see if you can find something that suits your fancy. Till then, I'll see you later. Bye.